Hi, Seminole State family. Welcome to Research Rally Live. We are faculty librarians here at the Seminole State College of Florida. I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason. Ross, you're muted, and he's Ross. And together we're starting off with a bang. We're starting off the new year with a bang.
That's right, a bang. We're about to do some research for the next 30 minutes like we do every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday during the academic semester. We're about to search, sift, sort, and suss our way through several sources. As always, we want to hear from you in the chat, especially if you have a research question. But before we get into that, we're going to introduce our cohort, a librarian in training, Miss Mihi. Hi, Mihi. And in the past, we've had Andrea joining us. Andrea is like super busy, crazy schedule. So she's pre-recorded a video to give us a heads up on something awesome that's going on or that's available to students and faculty and staff at Seminole State.
No, I am not standing in front of a rainforest, beautiful forest scene here. I am actually in the Zen Den in the ASC at the Sanford Lake Mary campus. If you haven't had a chance to come over to the Zen Den yet, it's a quiet study space that is great just for you to take a break from your regular studies, sit in a lower light environment. We have a lot of offerings here that you can use on a daily basis, as well as host events throughout the semester. So I'd love to show you a little bit about what's going on. Let me turn around here and let you see what's happening here in the Zen Den. So we've got study space tables, we've got some wonderful labyrinths, finger labyrinths that you can use for breathing and meditation. It's low light, like I said. There's comfortable seating as well. We even have a zero gravity chair, so you can hang out in nature and get some zero gravity time in. And the best thing too that you can use if you just need a break from studying is this brain break cart. You can hang out and color, you can do some magnetic poetry, a little bit of Lego time, whatever you need, just to kind of get that time in for you to relax and get in the right mindset for learning. So hopefully we will see you soon in the Zen Den sometime, and definitely check out Raider Connect for all of the events that we have available in here as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea. So yes, check out the Zen Den at the Academic Success Center. And below we have the link and if you just Google Seminole State Raider Connect, you'll see all the resources and then particularly events that are available to everyone here at Seminole State. So Jason, who's watching and how many people are watching?
Well, the eyeball counter says 2, so I think that means 2 billion 475,843. That's right. That's
usually
right.
It's like in the trillions or something. But
it was a billion today. We're a little shy because it's cold out, so it's only 2 billion 465,000.
Shout out to Laura. Laura, I think I'm embedded in your Professor Valentin's class. So awesome. And this name looks really familiar. Maha, this name looked familiar to you this last week.
Yusuf Ali? Who knows?
But Ali, thanks for being here. So as we do on Research Rally Live, we basically do research and we model the process. There's lots of little skills and big skills. And it's kind of an adventure. It's a journey. Every time you do research, whether it's for your personal use or for school, and those things are connected. You use the same or should use the same skills and approaches in both of those endeavors. So we model that process and we talk through it and narrate it so that we learn new things every week that we go live. And obviously so do our students. So we start with a research question. Sometimes it's kind of messy. Okay, sometimes I bring that messy millennial energy or just messy energy in general. Messy Jason, looking at me. Are college students too young to be mentally healthy? Would this be a good research topic, paper topic, or can we massage it? Can we work with it to make it better, to make it something our professor would approve, to make it make more sense maybe? I came up with this because I popped into an online article, and from my bias point of view, I basically this was my question. What do y'all think?
I mean, I think you've got the right idea with a question there. I mean, you are trying to measure something there, like how young is there's something there. I think you're right, though. I think it could be massaged a little bit to give it something a little bit more tangible to research.
Okay. Maha, you are in fact a college student. You have recently gotten your bachelor's degree, but right now you're actually in your master's degree. So a great inspiration for any of our students here at the college. So mental health, like, I know you have some notes prepared. So like, where do you want to start, like, talking about that from the perspective of a current college student?
At least through a college student, I wanted to talk about why I was into psychology, and that comes a lot in my childhood. There's a lot of terms that I grew up with that I didn't know how to make that topic. Like, I would feel anxiety, or I would go through things, but I didn't have the term for it. And psychology and mental health really gives you those terms and gives you a strong foundation, and that you can go up with that, and you can get resources and research to help you. And like, there's terms like coping management, there's strategies, all those things I think would help.
So I'm hearing you say that once you learned terminology that explained the topic of mental health, which we're talking about today because it's actually part of the theme of the social science video contest, which happens every fall and spring. Okay, college students and mental health, that's their theme. So we're starting to talk about that. So it's like and this is kind of how research is. If you don't know some of the terminology that describes your topic or aspects of your topic, you can't really start to know more about it. You need to learn a little bit about it, terms, and then you can find out more information about it. And then also has that led you to be able to like have solutions or to make headway into handling mental health, which is something that we all contend with, right? Whether we're a college student or not. Would you say that's the case?
Yes, it makes me a better student, a better friend, I think just a better person. And with researching that, you really get those tools, and it helps you throughout your life,
So this is where I started with, like, for my research for this topic. This is what gave me the idea for the topic. I was thinking about mental health in college students, because again, that's what we're doing for the social science video contest. But this article right here, which again, what did I Google? We're librarians. We do Google. Okay. We don't just go to the databases and articles. We diversify and look at lots of different types of sources. Mental health and college students' impacts. And I found this article as a starting point that says that basically, here was the thing that like I really glommed onto. The brain does not fully mature until about the age of 26. Has anyone else heard about this?
I've heard that.
Basically,
it's like developed.
Okay, so basically you're in adolescence until you're almost 26. So I was like, oh, okay, like, wait a minute, if your brain isn't fully matured, like, can you like truly be like fully mentally healthy because you're still growing? Okay, Laura agrees. Okay. Now, one of the points that this article points out is that basically up until the age of 26, your brain's fully matured. And I can't describe for you what that actually means scientifically, because I haven't read the whole article, like all the information about it. Okay. This is like the beginning of my research. That you react more and you make decisions more based on emotion rather than like facts and figures, and kind of like, do you feel like that's your case, Maha? You're not yet 26, are you?
No, I'm 24.
Okay,
but I understand that, because like, as I said, growing up, you like deal with all these things, and it's like an emotional reaction. But the more you learn, the more you're open, you have different perspectives, you kind of understand that you can deal with situations with a little bit more, calmness and logic. And I think that's what aging with that would be.
Jason, do you remember being 24?
It was about 400 years ago, Nicole. Thanks for bringing that up.
Hey, I'm right behind you, man. I'm trying to, I don't think I want to remember, because it was difficult, right? It was difficult.
Yeah, I think at some point you stop remembering everything. That's about where I'm at right now. Early bird dinners, all sorts of stuff. But if we take your prompt, are college students too young to be mentally healthy? Is there a way to cut out any of those words, or do you want to go back to your I think that was a .org on your article that you had. And I think the very first one on the search results was a really good one, a .gov from the NCBI. That was a really good one if you go back to that one.
Okay, so
yeah,
Jason's recommending we pull up this .gov.
And not because it's the first one, but it's the NIH. So this is the National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health. You can even see up in the upper left-hand corner in the National Center for Biotechnology Information. This is all good stuff. You can even see in the middle there, PubMed. Anytime, folks, you see a DOI, do you see if you can hover over it, Nicole, the Digital Object Identifier, that's going to be a clear indication. You can see the volume number, the issue number there. So this is a credible, reliable source, even though, ironically, it came up as the first search result in a Google search. It doesn't always work that way, friends, but this looks good. And you can see the numbers there. Those are going to be links. Those are in-text citations that are going to point to the full references, hopefully down on the bottom. Not to discredit that one that you had. If you actually go back to the one that you had, Nicole, I was looking for a date. Did anybody on the panel see a date on that published article? I did not.
Well, I see some authors up here, and I don't see any of that other stuff that Jason was pointing out that goes with a more researched or scholarly article. I can scroll down all the way to the bottom. I might have a date for the website in general, but that doesn't really tell me when this article, and I don't even see that. So that's one red flag, I would say. Now, what we coach when we talk about SIFT, okay, has anyone ever heard the SIFT method? Oh, how wonderful. So the last step in the SIFT method is to trace claims. And this article for me was a good example. Remember how I said I glommed onto, or I really attached mentally to this thing of the brain does not fully mature until about age 26? Well, if that's a claim, can I trace the original source of that claim? This article is citing that claim, but it's not the original source of the proof or allegations or that is true. So I'm going to click on that link.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Oh wow.
You trace the claim back to the original.
So this should have the article, the original as well. This should have it as well.
I'm guessing we need to keep going. Yes, right there. There's a
link. Okay.
So let's go to that.
Okay, so here's the link. So this is the process of tracing claims. If a librarian or a teacher or professor tells you to trace claims, this is what we're talking about. Okay, so, but wait, at first I got very excited. I was like, oh yeah, volume, issue, okay. Well, this is an article. It's actually it's part of like a kind of like an encyclopedia series. So, and I can't even get access to this without paying online, which is something I'm not going to do as a faculty or even a student. You don't do that. And I tried to find this in our library databases and I couldn't. We don't.
Ross is already looking. You can look under the journals and see. You can also put the age of adolescence into our online library and see if it works. But you do have some good ingredients here, friends. You have a couple MD, a PhD, and MDS. You also have hot links, so you can email them to continue the conversation. There is a volume number. There is an issue number. And ironically, and this is strange, the fact that you can't read it, the fact that you can't get access to it unless you pay is actually a good thing for its credibility, right? Because they want you to pay for it. So ironically, you can't get into it. It's like a Lamborghini or a Maserati. It's like, oh, it's a cool car that I'll never be able to afford, but it looks cool. But at this point, I would probably take that article title and try to put that in. You can at least see the summary. And I think the summary does have down there in the bottom a definition of 10 to 24 years.
Yes.
Or rather. So it is in that range, the ballpark that we talked about. Odd that we found two other articles that I don't know if they paid for this, Ross. And they're still writing the whole story. Maybe they did pay for it, like Yahoo paid for this article. Like, it's kind of bizarre, right?
I hope they're not citing from an abstract. That's just that's not good.
That's what I think they're doing. That's what I think they're doing.
This one claims that this is an opinion piece. It literally calls it an opinion piece, which
it's word for word. Nicole, copy that whole thing from rather. Copy the whole thing, please, from rather to settings.
Okay.
Rather than age 10 to 19 years, a definition of 10 to 24 years. Now cut back to the Yahoo. right there, and it's the same thing.
Oh,
Stretch from
yeah.
10 years. They literally just, I don't know if they plagiarized it or
Oh,
not,
they
but
just copied it. Okay.
they just copied it, and then they said these guys have it, and now you clicked on Yahoo, and then they got your clickbait. So you guys got to look out for these kinds of things.
Guess what? Something
Although-
else to look out for. But,
I was just going to say the article does have almost 2,000 citations. You can see the metrics on the side, so people were looking at this. You can see those plum metrics. So
Okay,
a
but wait for
citation,
it.
yeah, wait for it.
Jason, watch as I scroll. You mentioned dates before. The references for this, it's not an opinion piece. It's not a scholarly article. It's basically an entry in an encyclopedia written by doctors. But look at the references. Look at the dates on these.
Yeah,
They're
my
like
birth date year is on one of those. I'll give you, you can check. You can
I'm not
see.
gonna,
They're old.
I'm not going to guess which one, Jason.
It's
But
1904.
right, Nala, yes. Like,
Yeah.
so the information they pulled for this was old. So that's got me thinking, like, what? What?
Unless they were using it for like a historical
Right.
overview.
It's
or
like a tree.
something.
It's like a tree. They're building on it. You could see it
Yeah,
goes in chronological
Mhm.
order there. 1904, my birth year, all the way up to 2006, 99. They jump around a little bit, but this is good. It's strange because we haven't really gotten to our research question again. We're still researching. Can you put where is our research? I don't know about too young. I would probably put in college students' mental health. Students in the chat, what would you put in if you were to kind of cut that up? Some of those we call them kind of dead words sometimes. You don't really have to put and, the, but. You really just want for academic college research. For your Google searches, it's okay. You know, does this shirt come in a size large? But you would just put, it went away, college students' mental health, something like that, or it's just as a starting point.
I think we still need a variable.
Yeah.
It's too young. Originally, like in this article, I found it reference to the brain is young. So it's like I didn't even put that in my topic. So I'm not being specific about what aspect of college students is too young. I mean, if I really want to dig into the science of like brain development, okay, I guess I could go there and argue that point. But also, one thing I want to point out is mentally healthy. What does that mean?
It's like experience, and there's like so many different factors, like how you take care of yourself, like what environment you're in. And so I don't know, depends on that age.
I believe we have the Lancet. I believe we have it in there. We have two different Lancets.
I found it, but not the child and adolescent one.
Yeah, that's like a subset of the Lancet,
subset.
which we don't have.
Yeah. And they, many of these folks, they want your money. Again, as Nicole said, try not to, I mean, if you want to pay for it, you can pay for it, but there's always other opportunities such as interlibrary loan. Let's see, let's go to Laura here. What does Laura say? Age versus parental support versus finances. So now you have your verses and a real minuscule thing. Should there be a period there? Do you spell out verses? Is there verses? These are all questions to use for your research when you're rolling the dice each time on your research.
I like where she's going with like some of the specific aspects of college life that could affect your mental health, because worrying about your finances and having anxiety about that, or having stressors.
Yeah, I see it.
There you go. This is what Laura
I liked it. These are some definitely good ideas. So
and that is particularly, Laura, that would be more of a Google-esque, if that's a word, question. Anytime there's a what and a question mark into it, so you could probably just do college student success but what impacts it, that's very broad. That's very broad, right? So now we've gotten away from mental health, and then the brain before, just because the brain, 24 years, and none of that really had to do with, so we're kind of dancing around here, right? We have a big buffet of items on the table. We're just kind of picking.
And I think we would all tell you, any student, look, in half an hour, and we're already 20 minutes in, half an hour is not enough time to do all of the research development of your topic and your research approach and the iterations of going to different sources and trying different keywords and different versions of your key phrase. We can't do that ever in half an hour and that be enough research for an entire paper or even an entire assignment. It's not going to take 10 days. It's not going to take 25 hours, but it's definitely going to take more than 30 minutes or half an hour. So this is good. And I do want to point out too, dovetailing into what can be done to correct or to like help mental health issues, right? We want to discover topics and talk about problems, but more than that in life, whether it be for a paper or an assignment or for our own personal obstacle, what is the solution? What can we do to help the problem? And this particular article talks about access to mental health services, systemic things that can help support mental health. And Maha, I'm wondering, in your collegiate journey and as a college student, have you noticed an increase in mental health support and services at your institutions that you've been going to school at? Like, you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, of course. I think the more I go into it, the more resources that there are. Just generally, even talking about mental health and not having that stigma. I know we're like, in the 21st century, but still, there is still a little bit of stigma, and saying that, topics like having anxiety, things like that are more taboo, but in reality, they're just part of who you are, and you just need to learn how to cope with them. So, yeah.
I like it.
Whenever you guys... Microphone. Oh, my microphone. So I put in college students' mental health, and just keep in mind the dates. I don't know if you have that same search there, Nicole, but the dates, and then again, you should be looking at, and in the chat, let us know what are the differences on the web domains. What's a .org, what's a .com, what's a .gov, and then keep in mind the dates, because I found a really good one cited by 1,681 different people. And that was available on, again, the National Library of Medicine, the NIH PubMed Central website from 2014. So, would you eat food in your fridge from 2014? I'm not particularly sure. No judgment here. You might. But as far as a topic like this, I always say, do you want to know how much money you had in your bank account 10 years ago or how much you have now? So you want to keep it current, and you can always use the other information before to build on that, i.e., this is the way it was, and then 10. Who's an unknown caller? Who's calling?
Who's calling me?
It was me, you would know.
I got called out. Am I on the?
Sam. Like you always say, Jason, like unknown, like unknowns are untrustable.
It's
That's
credence.
why we cite sources.
It's
That's
not
why
credible. Don't pick it up.
I never pick up the phone, by the way, because they're trying to scam me, but it's Credence. Somebody named Credence keeps calling me 20 different times. It's always a scan. I don't know how does that work if it says unknown caller and then there's a name in the thing? Those two cancel each other out.
Yeah.
If it's proper business, if it's legit business, they will leave you a message.
I don't want to do any
if it's
business.
legit, it will probably arrive on paper in your mailbox. So
Do you guys know what this is? This is a calculator and a camera. I don't use it. There's no phone. I don't talk to anybody. I don't know why when it rings, I go, oh my God, it does that? What does that ring? That's a ring?
Jason, you're not that old. You're not that old.
I have a question for Ross and Jason, because we're of a particular generation. Do you remember there being mental health services for college students when we were doing our undergrad, getting our bachelor's degrees?
No.
I don't.
No.
Jason, do you?
No, I mean, the services now are really like a one-stop shop. I mean, we have a lot of different things. We're librarians. We help with your research. There's the Academic Success Center. They help with your writing. There's food insecurities, we have a food pantry. There's a wellness center. There's a department of a DSS for disability support services. And Andrea was just in a Zenden room. There's a lot of different things in 2025 than there were in 1825 when I was coming up. So it's very different.
Very different. 100 years, all the difference.
But yay to progression and mental health. Woo!
Yeah.
All right, Maha, did you have anything that that we didn't talk about yet that you had in your notes?
No,
We wanna
I
make
think
sure we
that's
cover
about
everything.
it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm the young. I'm not sure about the young. I mean, college student, right, Ross? You were still looking for another hook.
Something was bothering me about the question. So I
Okay.
did what I've started doing pretty frequently. I asked ChatGPT to help me out. And you know what? It gave me a great suggestion here. It said, what if you reshaped it as how does age impact mental health resilience or something like that?
Sure.
So we're still getting at the same idea, but now we have something that we can actually grasp onto. We can focus our searches. We'll know what the evidence will look like when we see it now.
That's good.
So-
Age.
Yeah. So not limiting it to college students, but just focusing on age as the variable.
Because one could argue that the question, the way it stands now, is almost falsified. Yeah, you can't answer that question. On a rainy day, would a baseball player get more home runs? I mean, you can't really answer it.
and this is something that we like to put on our radar for students. Look, you might come to us to help you with research, librarians here at Seminole State, and you might have a question formulated, and we, as your partner in academic endeavors, might be like, hey, this doesn't work because of X, Y, and Z. And you don't have to feel like, oh, I failed already. Oh, I'm so bad at this, or blah, blah, blah. That's just a part of the journey. So we need to be open to like be able to like change our topic. And sometimes any of us could be guilty of it. We assume like based on a bias. Like I had a bias because I read one article and I didn't even further research it. And this is like the topic I just pulled up real quick. And also a bias because I'm not a young college student. Okay. So, and I don't really actually know that much about the definition of mental health. Again, I grew up and I went to school, like there was no college students in mental health. That wasn't a thing. Like people didn't talk about that.
For semantics sake, Nicole, I don't even think mentally healthy and mental health are the two same. I don't think that's the same thing.
Okay. And these are all things that would come up if we were researching,
Ross, what do you
developing this topic for a paper. Very nice.
Mentally, is someone mentally healthy, and then do they have mental health? I just don't. I don't think so. I think they're two different. And
well, yeah, just like mental health is like thinking about the health of your your mental brain.
You're just repeating the word.
Well, I think it has like similarities, components of it.
I think if you really drill down, they're different. But the research will tell us.
Difference?
The research will tell us.
The research, I haven't done the research. And again, when you put too young, that's, almost pigeonholing. Every college student is of a certain age, which is not the case. So we took a topic that was given to us. However, students, as you know, or may not know, you're going to find out soon, many of the times you get the green light to choose your own topics. And that's where the research librarians can help you, as Nicole was saying, mold that, shape it into something. You're just bringing in a little bit of clay at the beginning here, and then we'll mold it and shape it and put it in the kiln, and then we'll have a nice, what are we going to make, a mug with that clay? So, all right, we have two on the line here, and I gave you guys both the credit for attending today. So you guys are good. Laura and the ever, did you put anything else in the chat? Ali Yusuf Ali? I don't know. Okay, it's
I'm giving you a bad rap.
It's the Laura show in the chat there. So we appreciate your engagement. If you have questions, please come to us. We're happy to help you. We just started off the new term, so you're going to get some research assignments. That's what we do. We help with your research and your citations. And back to you, Nicole.
Yeah, so going to the analog version of my outro, thank you for joining us today. Maha, you almost know this. You got to start saying this one. Remember, we are librarians. We're here to assist you with research citations and information needs. There's no question too big, no question too small, no question too weird. We want to hear it all. And that's the truth, everybody. Remember that, okay? So also, we can save you time and we can save you stress. It's the beginning of the semester. That's why we haven't heard from you yet. Thank you for watching today. Like, share, subscribe if you like hanging out with librarians. Again, we do this every Wednesday at 3. And you can always find us at the library. Research and citations for you and for me.
Oh, whoa. There you go.
That's millennial energy, okay? All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. We'll see you at library. Hit the outro button.